Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. This will be the first 5 week Blender class that I'm teaching. All the other Blender classes were full day classes. This is going to be different. In the full day class, it was more tutorial oriented. The 5 week class, we're going to get much more heavily involved in Blender and start understanding it from the core level so that we can start being creative and artistic with Blender intuitively. So what I'd like to do is I would like each of you to do just a quick introduction and then share your experience in 3D and what you do professionally artistically, and make it quick so because we got a bunch of people here. And I'm looking at my panel here where I see everybody's faces. So I'm just going to follow it on my panel. So I'm going to start with David Good. And turn on your microphone, David, if you're not on.
Hello,
Hello, hi.
I'm retired. I'm the co-chair, vice president of the San Diego Photoshop user group. I'm here to keep you all in line. Um, I've been using Photoshop since 5.5, and I've known Stephen probably that as long as 5.5.
That's a long time.
Yeah,
Well, any experience in 3D at all?
not much.
Okay. Okay, you're in the right place.
I did I was your technical advisor for one of your books that covered 3D, but that was about it.
All right, welcome. Zari, you're next.
Hey Steve,
Hey, man.
my name is Zare. I've been doing 3D a very long time. Started on the Amiga, and I'm basically a lightweight user and trying to move over to Blender. So I just need to know where the buttons are and what are the differences, kind of the things. So, yep, been doing animation for a while. Modeling, rendering, rigging, texturing, compositing, all that stuff.
So Zari is underselling himself. Tell everybody where you work.
I work at Pasadena City College. I teach night classes there. Is that what you were
You
asking?
know what I mean.
Oh, I also work at Glendale Community College. I teach night classes there too.
Now
Is
he's
that the one?
now he's trying to be really funny. He's the lead guy for JPL. Okay. Jenny.
Just plain lucky. That's the name
Okay.
of the lab I work for.
Okay. Jennifer, you're next.
Hey, my name is Jennifer Achigian, rhymes with comedian, and I'm this year is going to be a year of learning for me because I've worked as a 3D generalist since 1999, but I'm trying to branch out my skills. For the last 7 years, my work has been doing Python scripting for 3D pipelines. So I help automate otherwise tedious work for artists so that they can focus on their art. But this year I want to learn Unreal Engine, C++, and if I can fit it in, I also want to learn Blender because this program happens to be going places. I imagine a lot of people here are also looking at Blender's progress with a keen interest. So, yep, that's me. I'm here to learn. So I'm looking forward to the class.
And Jen was also one of the lead Lightwave users in the graphics community in LA.
Oh, Stephen,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I read just last night that they've approved Blender to be taught in school colleges across America.
Well, that's interesting because I've just been hired by another college to teach their 3D program. It's Coast College, and I recommended Blender, and they accepted my recommendation. Brian, you're next.
Well, not much to say. Next to these esteemed colleagues, I don't work for JKL. I'm an ex-Navy guy. I actually worked in the graphic arts industry when I got out. So my experience with things like Photoshop and Illustrator and things like that were mostly like troubleshooting. So I had to find out why their PostScript files weren't working and send them to our high-res imagers and stuff. So I got out of that quite a while ago into the IT industry. But I also work at the show Wonderfest. I run the hardware demo track, and that's how I know Steven. He's done some great work for us, and I'm happy to be here, and hopefully I'll learn a few things about this nice application. I've seen him do some good work on it.
Thanks. Yeah, Brian was one of the guys who got me involved in Wonderfest in Louisville. So welcome, Brian. Scott, you're next.
Okay. My name is Scott Prevey, and a number of years ago I got involved with the Adobe Suite, the Creative Suite, Photoshop, After Effects, a little bit of Blender, not a lot, but I was on a corporate audiovisual group for a company here in Chicago area, and left them, or they left me. They moved over to Florida. I stayed in Chicago, and got into doing a lot of Microsoft work. So I've kind of gotten away from the creative side, so I want to get back in. And I met Steven when I attended this year's Wonderfest a couple months ago. Took his class there, his one-day class, and looking forward to learning more.
All right. Welcome, man. This is great.
Thanks.
Dan, you're next.
Hey, I'm Dan Arbison. I'm a major incident manager for IBM currently. I really don't have much in the way of 3D experience. The most recent I did anything with it was with building a Quake map. And the Quake map was to build a walk-through data center. I'm a data center designer as well, a walk-through data center for a large company out in La Jolla, actually. So I did that, and then I played with Visio, but I want to learn Blender 3D and see what I can maybe design out of it.
Okay, welcome, Dan. Mike. Mike 2018.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm a 35-year industry professional for visual effects miniatures, stop motion animation, and prop making. I've worked on things like Rocketeer, The Abyss, Avatar, The First Iron Man, a whole slew of stuff. And for the last few years, I've been working in Rhino, building stuff there for a rapid prototype. And that's all well and good, but it definitely has more of a hard engineering bent. So I'm going to try Blender to up my skills, keep up with the kids. And like Jennifer and David said, it's coming online. It's getting to be used more and more and more. So it's free. Why not? So that's me.
All right,
Why I'm
man.
here.
Well, welcome to the class. Great to have you here. Michael Hodges.
Hi, I'm Michael Hodges. I live out here in Tennessee. I've been dabbling a bit with 3D software for, 25 plus years, but never really committed to actually learning it well. I mean, I was playing with old software like POV Ray and True Space back in the 90s, dabbled a little bit in Maya before it got ridiculously expensive.
Before it got ridiculously expensive, Maya started, before version 1.0, Maya started, what, 25 grand?
20?
Yeah?
It used to be like a $30,000
Yeah.
application because it was aimed at large institutions,
Right.
and it ran on $100,000 SGI machines, SGI workstations.
Well, maybe not that. I was able to get it for like $600, like a training version of it.
You got
and
it.
then it have to be in the thousands when it,
You got to
Anyway.
They lowered the price to like they lowered the price like in the early 2000s, and now it's a subscription model. And there's also a Maya LT that I think is $30 a month. But in its beginning, it was aimed at a limited number of customers and priced accordingly.
Yeah. But anyways, haven't really committed to fully learning 3D like I should. And saw Steven's demo at Wonderfest 2 years ago, took his class this year, or a year ago rather. Signed up for his class this year, got a whole lot out of that one-day seminar, and decided I'm going to commit to getting much better at it.
Okay, welcome, Michael. Thank you for being here. Charles Cleveland, you there? Is Charles Cleveland available? All right, he's probably stepped away from his mic. Oh, there he is.
I had it muted. Can you hear me now?
There you go. Yes, we can. Welcome.
Oh, all right. Yeah. I have worked mostly with Photoshop going back all the way to, I think, version 3. And I've been working, most of my work is with photo enhancement. And I'm also in the process of learning to build websites, and my 3D experience has been extremely limited, and I'm very much looking forward to working with Blender.
All right, welcome, man. And finally, Lawrence, share with us.
Hey everyone, my name is Lawrence Reynolds. I've been a professional creative for 20 plus years, worked in advertising as an art director, creative director, and most recently a concept artist in the collectibles business, doing mostly 2D and having that work converted into 3D by people more talented than myself. So I want to pick up some skills, and I dabbled in ZBrush and DAS 3D, but only kind of untrained hobbyist sort of pursuit. So I want to be more proficient in 3D. I'm also a scale model enthusiast. So hopefully there's some thinking that will transfer. But that's sort of where I am, just trying to learn and be more competitive in the marketplace.
Okay. Great. Let's get started. Thank you all for being here. The response I've got on this class has been overwhelming. I didn't expect as many people actually to register for it, but Blender's getting extremely popular. I had the honor of being able to speak at Comic-Con this year. They gave me the really big room, 400 seats, and every seat was taken. So it was, to say the least, I was overjoyed by the response. And I'm planning to kind of keep coming back every year at Comic-Con and kind of sharing with this. But I've also been working with Wonderfest, as you heard a few of the guys mention. Wonderfest is the largest 3D and arts convention I have been told in the world. I think Brian Luton can confirm that.
It's definitely the biggest in the country.
Yeah, biggest in the country. Okay.
And people come from all over the world for it.
Yeah.
So I'll say that for sure.
So basically, those model builders that work on the Star Wars sets and the Star Trek sets or any of the sci-fi movies, they're there. And some of them actually been taking my 3D workshops. And that convention is catered to people who are scratch builders. So they're using styrene to build a lot of their product. So here I come involved by bringing in digital 3D, and of course 3D is scaring everybody at the convention. And so I figured, well, I tell you what, why be scared? Why not let's do a beginning class and show you how it's done and how you can actually use a 3D printer to print out your parts as well. And Brian can contest to this, can confirm this. That I only expected 8 people to sign up. We got 21.
You fill your class.
Yeah, we filled the class. I mean, I didn't expect that to happen. So there's a demand for Blender. Guys, Blender is good. It's damn good. It's more than prime time ready. And it's basically going after the sculpting market, the standard modeling market, compositing, animation, effects, drawing, painting. You can do it all in Blender. And it's very, very good. So the Maya people are now starting to jump over into Blender. So what I want to do is I want to make sure I want to go over preferences first. I want to make sure that we are all working on the same page and understand what we're doing when we're setting up Blender for these particular preferences. So I would like everybody to kind of watch my screen at first, and I'm going to instruct you to go to your preferences panel in just a little bit, and then we're going to set those up. And once those are set up, I want to start today because it's a 5-week class, and as I mentioned earlier, the 1-day classes were more project oriented. Here we're going to get deeper into the program. All right, so that you get a better grasp on how and why Blender works and thinks. So I'm going to just quickly mention that the setup is kind of very similar to Photoshop. You've got your navigational bar over to your left, and we can see that with these little symbols. We'll get into these in just a moment. I just want to just kind of take a look at it. We have our menus at the top, file menu, edit menu, render menu. We'll get into that just like in Photoshop. We have our panels over to the right. So our scene collection panels are nothing more than 3D layers. All this over here works just like layers in Photoshop. So Adobe has such a great influence on UI design that a lot of companies are just designing their UI to be kind of the setup to be very similar to Photoshop. And we're going to get into other little options in just a little bit here. Okay. By default, when you guys have Blender open on your machines, now I recommend the best way for the follow this class is to have 2 monitors so that you can watch me on one monitor and you can have Blender on the other monitor. Now I'm assuming most everybody here has that, anyway. That's the way they work professionally. But if you don't, pick up like a cheap monitor or something, inexpensive one, and have a second one there just to kind of watch me on it while you have Blender on your main screen. Okay, preferences. Just like in Photoshop, it's in the same location. If you're familiar with Photoshop, it's under the Edit menu, Preferences. So we're going to go to Edit menu, and I'm going to go to Preferences. And what I'd like you guys to do is to do the same thing right now. Now, those of you who have taken my 1-day Blender class, you guys will probably already have your preferences set up the way I'm going to instruct, so just be patient. Most everybody here has never opened up Blender before. All right, now I've got a Word file here where I've got everything listed out that I want you guys to have set up. So I want to make sure I'm not going to get this done right the first time. All right, I want to bring to your attention, when you're looking at the Preferences panel, that over on the left-hand side, you have your buttons like Interface and Themes and Viewports and Lights and Editing and yada, 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 yada. We're going to start at Interface. So watch my screen first, and then I'm going to let you guys do it next. If you go to the interface, you're going to see something in here called Resolution Scale. Well, what the hell does Resolution Scale do? Watch me. Click and hold on it and drag it. Everything gets bigger around it for people who have a hard time seeing those icons, or if you want a more workspace, you can make it smaller like so. So by default it's 1.0 for a 100%. But if you feel you need to have a little bit bigger icon to kind of see what you're doing, you're welcome to kind of stretch that on over to adjust your interface. Okay, so I just want you to be aware of that, one of the first things. And everybody can adjust their interface however you want. Okay, we're not going to go into themes, so I'm going to tell you what it is. Themes, if we click on it, is custom designing the color of your interface. So if I go to user interface here, or go to the tools, for instance, you get to see your text color, your selected text, your items, and you can customize the color theme of your interface. All right, for your toolbars and so forth. I'm going to let you guys do that on your own. We're not going to worry about this today. I want to keep the interface default so that we kind of get used to working with Blender and navigating within Blender within its default color sets. Later on, you can learn how to color things the way you want. All right, viewport. Under the viewport, we've got, this is interesting, gizmo size. Now let me do something real quick. Let me come over here. Can I actually hit Command Shift A? I'm going to add a cube. By default, you probably have a cube in Blender. So that's the first thing. But the default Blender is going to give you a cube. So I'm going to don't add a cube. I just want you to watch me here, because when we go to the viewport, we have what's called the gizmo size, right? Or viewport axis. So if I go to the gizmo side and scroll it over, I can make the gizmo bigger or smaller. And I find that the default value for the gizmo is a little bit too small for me. I prefer to go something like 125, maybe 150. I'll just type it in there, 150. And I find that is ideal for me, because now I can easily see the rectangles and stretch them or resize according to each axis, and easily grab the rotation axis in X, Y, and Z. Red, green, and blue, X, Y, and Z. So be aware that that's there. 3D viewport axis is this little guy in the right-hand corner. You can navigate utilizing this. So if I click and hold, that will rotate my interface around, right? If I want to move it on the y-axis, I can click on the y, or it doesn't really matter. I can drag this way, or, well, we'll talk about that moving and rotating in just a little bit. But you can resize that little area with the sizing for the 3D viewing axis, okay? I don't worry about that so much, because I'm going to teach you guys shortcuts for navigating. You're never going to use it anyway.
Steve, can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, I don't have two monitors, and I tried to, so anyway, I tried to minimize Blender and get back to you.
Right, so
And the zoom screen is just a little rectangle in the upper right-hand corner, and I don't know how to get it back.
okay, so let's see. How do you get back to zoom screen? Do me a favor. I want you to just watch me for now, Charles. I know you want to go play, but for
I can't see you.
right, no,
That's my
I
point.
heard you the first time. So your zoom is minimized, so you'll have to look for a little icon for zoom. I know zoom's a little
It's not,
zoom's a
Okay.
little weird. Zoom minimizes things on you, and you'll lose it if you jump out. But if you hit your Alt Tab key, see if you can find your zoom that way. Alt Tab.
okay, let's see. Let me try that.
You should see your Zoom meeting controls or something, or something of that nature.
Okay, let's see.
And what I'll do is I'm going to pause. Cool. All right, there we go. All right. So I just finished. Now, the next thing we're going to just be aware that you've got specifics for lights and editing. We're not going to talk about those. We're not going to talk about the animation. The next thing we're going to do is want to go to add-ons. So all 3D programs have these plugins that you can buy, or they can be free, that you can add into your 3D application. And in Blender, it's the add-ons. All right. So there's some add-ons I want everybody to have activated. And the way to find your add-ons, because you're never going to remember where they're located, is right up here in the search bar. We're going to put in an option. All right, so now, Charles, what you're going to do is, if you hit your Alt Tab key, you should bring up Blender. It should bring it to the front. And when you're ready to go back to Zoom, hit Alt Tab and go back to the Zoom menu again. So what I'd like you to do is hit Alt Tab and go to Blender, and then go to your Edit menu, Preferences, and then click on the Add-ons button in the dead center on the left-hand side. And everybody let me know that you actually did it, that you're there.
Okay. I found actually what I can do is I can
Good.
I can click on the Blender icon on the taskbar, and it will bring it up. And if I click it again, it'll minimize it.
Excellent. Great. As long as you know how to do it.
All right, I'm at the, all right, I just clicked the add-on.
Right? Now, in the top right-hand corner, you see a magnifying glass.
Got
The
it?
first thing you're going to type in is BOO for Bool Tools. BOO, and it's going to come up Bool Tools. I want you to check it.
Okay, let's see.
I want to make sure it's checked. And it comes with Blender. It's not a third-party add-on.
Okay, yeah, and it is checked.
Excellent. The next one you're going to add in there is called Extra Object. So put in EXT, and you'll see immediately Extra Objects. 3 of them come up here. Go ahead and select them all. Curves, Mesh, and Import Export GTF.
Okay, got those.
And if anybody is getting behind, stop me. Let me know. So talk to me. So I'm going to assume I can move forward. Everybody's gotten to this point. All right.
Hey, Stephen, I'm not able to, I only have curve and mesh, and when I try to click on the box, oh, there we go. I only have curve and
Okay,
mesh.
so keep typing out extra. Extra objects.
Yeah, I typed the word.
Because it's in there. And you do have
Hold on, let's see what-
the latest Blender selected. I mean,
Yes, so I do have curve and mesh, but I see you have export, and it's not.
oh, okay.
Okay.
Don't worry about that one. That's not the one I want you to have. It's the first 2 I want you to have.
Okay, I got them. Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right. So next one.
And this is being recorded, right? So I can go back and get caught up.
I leave no person behind.
I am struggling to try and do this on one monitor right now. I don't currently have a second monitor connected to my laptop. So
All right, gotcha. So you do the same thing. Now you have a Mac or it doesn't matter, Mac or PC. You have a Mac or PC?
I'm using a Mac.
Is the Mac? Okay, so I believe it's the Option tab. It should be the Option tab, or is it the Apple tab? It may be Apple tab allows you to navigate between your open programs. Okay, so try that, and that way you'll be able to see the programs that are open and stop at the program that you want to pop up. That's the fast way to navigate between Blender and watching me.
Okay.
So if you have an additional monitor or a friend who's got an additional monitor like that they can let you borrow or something, then just connect it to your laptop, and next week you have 2 monitors. It'll be a lot easier.
Yeah, I'll have to cannibalize my setup.
Yeah,
I'll get
no
it
worries.
straightened out.
You know what to do.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so next thing I want you guys to have is the loop tool. So type in LOO, and loop tools should come up. Hold on a second. Someone is calling. All right, the next one I want you to have selected is Magic UV. So MAG, and look for the Magic UV, and make sure that's selected. Also select import images as planes if that's also up there. Import image as planes, or export image as planes, also UV Magic.
Also, Steve, this might not matter at the moment, but do you have caps lock on your keyboard?
I do.
It might not matter at the moment. I'm just wondering if it would mess up Blender if you have caps lock on.
No, it's just
Oh,
a
good.
search. No, it's just a search.
I have import export UV layout. Is that the one?
It should be UV Magic.
I do have UV Magic. I was looking for the
Import
planes.
Okay, import export images. So just type in IMG. So IMAG, and then IMAG. Silly me. Import export images as planes.
I see it.
Mine came up together with the other one because it had the AMG in there, but normally you have to type it in separately. All right, get to that point. Next, I want you guys to have Bolt Factory, BOLT. So if you want to make screws and bolts, this is a cool plugin. Okay. Bolt Factory. The next one you're going to have selected is called Node Wrangler. And this is going to be for the tech stream part of the class. Oh, sorry, I'm typing things wrong in here. NODE, look for Node Wrangler. And if anybody is trying to catch up anything, let me know. Just talk to me. I'll give you an extra minute or so just to make sure all that's selected. I think that's it for the add-ons. Now, there's a particular way that I like to navigate in Blender. And we're going to set that up next. So, what was that?
Can you hear me, Steve?
I can.
Yeah, let's see. I was having trouble at the beginning in the preferences as far as back at the interface. I missed that up to the point when you started on add-ons.
On the add-on? Okay, so do I need to, you want me to go back to the beginning of add-ons?
No, back to interface.
Okay, so the interface was resolution scale. So if I click on if you look at me, watch my screen, you're going to keep yours default 1. I was just showing my screen that you can also resize it bigger to compensate for your particular viewing uniqueness.
Okay,
that was all.
Okay, I see.
Got it. And then we skipped everything else, and we went to, what did we do? Did we go to let's see what I do here. I think we skipped everything else, and we went to add-ons, and I think you're up to date now.
Okay, so I guess I'm caught up.
You're caught up.
Okay.
Hey, Stephen, real quickly,
Sure.
can you just give me that list of add-ons? I missed a couple of them. I'll go back and add them. I don't want to take time away from the rest of you.
What I'm gonna do is I'm going to copy the list of add-ons and put it into the chat box. How does that sound?
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, I'll do that right now. There, you've got it. I'm glad I put this in the Word doc. All right, next, important, input. Click on the input box button on the left-hand side. Now, we all should have full keyboards with a numeric pad on the right-hand side. If for some reason you do not, say you have a laptop that just doesn't have a numeric keyboard, all your numbers at the top, Blender has shortcuts that are optimized for a three button mouse with a scroll wheel and a full keyboard. In the event you do not have a full keyboard, I find it advantageous to select Emulate Numpad. And you only need to check the Emulate Numpad if you do not have a full keyboard. If you have a full keyboard, leave it unchecked. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to check this under the mouse. You're going to check Emulate 3-button mouse. Okay? And you're going to find...
So we're going to do this even if we have a 3-button mouse?
Emulate 3-button mouse. I want you to have that checked irregardless.
All right.
All right, we're going to do the next thing. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to navigation. Important workflow. By default, orbit around selection is unchecked. I want you to check it. What that does is whatever you have selected in Blender, that becomes your orbital point when you rotate around. And everything else in navigation stays default.
So if that's unchecked, does it orbit around the 000
That's right.
point?
It orbits around the world axis. We're going to talk about that in a moment. All right. Now, The next thing I want you to do is click on System. Well, actually, go to Key Map real quick. I just want you to be aware of something. Go to Key Map. Sorry, I forgot about that. Let's see, overlays. I forgot that. I'm going to add that in here because I don't have it. Come on, add in there. Key Map. All right. In Key Map, what you want to have selected is Tab for Pie Menu. When we get into Blender and play around, I'm going to bring to your attention why we check this. Tab for Pie Menu. Make sure that is checked. Okay. System, important. For particularly important if you have an NVIDIA card in your system. If you have an NVIDIA card, Blender is set up to recognize the CUDA technology. Check the CUDA button. If you don't have that CUDA button there, it means you don't have an NVIDIA card. You probably have a Microsoft card, a Microsoft Intel card, or something else. But if you have CUDA and it will recognize both your processor and your graphics card. So I've got the Ryzen 2080 Ti, the GeForce RTX 2080 Ti, and I've got the AMD Ryzen 9 16 core. So I make sure both of those are checked. So it will recognize whatever you have in your system. Just make sure they both are checked.
Steve, I've got an older NVIDIA and it doesn't support CUDA.
Does your button show up as CUDA there?
It does not. It does not.
Okay, then you don't have it.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. There's a tab that says CUDA, and that's
you got it,
and that's highlighted.
Highlighted. Click it, and then make sure your processor and graphics card is checked.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, got that.
All right, now, next step. All right, we're done in preferences. That's it in preferences. Now you got there is one more thing. Sorry. Under the system, you have undo steps. Where I think 256 is the highest you can go. Go to 256. I think it's a lower number by default. That's how you tell Blender how many undos you get to have. Okay, and you can also set up a separate disk for cache. I'll leave that up to your discretion. The save and load option, leave it default, and then the file path, we'll talk about this later. Okay, and now just close it out. We're ready to go. We're ready to go have some fun. All right.
So
Yes.
one question. I had to enable the pie menus and the add-ons before I could see it as an option in the hotkeys. So you want pie views menu to be set to tab?
Yes. So if I go back to the preferences here, and where was that? Is that the input or was that under navigation?
Key map.
Oh, there we go. That's right. So tab for pie menu.
And that's not the view that I get. Okay.
It should be.
Tab. It might be because I don't in the upper left-hand corner, I don't have it set to Blender. I have it to 312 hotkeys. So let me put it on Blender, and maybe then I'll see, there's a preferences. Now I get a preferences. Now I get a tab for my menu.
I forgot to mention.
Okay.
So what this is if you have a previous version of Blender, it'll reset the preferences back to that version. Just keep it on Blender.
Sure.
All right, make it
Okay.
easier. So tab for hotkeys. All right. So what did we do? Now, does everybody have a cube in the middle for Blender here?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to teach you one little technique that I find to be very handy. Whenever I boot up Blender, You're going to have your lights and your camera on your right-hand side. They'll probably be separated out. And you'll have a cube in the middle. Opening up Blender with a cube in the middle is annoying. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the cube. Now I want you to take note. Just like Photoshop, these are your layers and it's called a scene collection, right? But this is basically your layers. I have my lights and my camera all set up. I'll turn those on. You can see them all set up there. And I have a cube. So that's my 3D object. That's my lights. These are something you're not going to see. That's something I put in. I'll talk about that later. And you're also going to get a camera by default. Now, what I would like you to do is I want you to group the camera and the lights together. And the way that you do it is select the light and the camera. And you can use the control key to kind of multiple select. And what you're going to do with your mouse over here within the navigational area, you're going to hit the M for man key. And that creates a brand new collection. And I want you to hit new collection. And I want you to name that collection, rename the collection, and call it Lights, Camera, Action. I've already done mine. It says Lights, Camera, Action, and it's inside that group there. And I can cascade it up or bring it down.
Steve, I wasn't able to do the grouping. So you wanted me to.
So you want to watch me again, then go back to yours?
All right.
What you're doing, so you're going to select the camera, hit Control or Command key, select the light, so they both are selected, and then hit the M key on your keyboard for man, and that's the shortcut for making a new collection. So select new collection, left click on new collection, and then rename the collection Lights, Camera, Action. That's it.
Steve, it won't. It won't. It doesn't group both. I can't select both of them at the same time, even with the control
With the
key.
control key, try the shift.
Doesn't work.
Has to.
That works for me though, holding shift
So
down.
here's what I did was I selected the camera, then I held down and then I let go of the mouse button, then I held down the control key, and then I clicked on the light, and then both were selected, and then when I hit M and created a new group, they were both moved to the new group.
Right. So what I'm doing, Charles, is left clicking and releasing on the camera, hold the control key down, left click and release on the light. Now they're both selected. Then hit the M key for man.
Let's see. All right. Hold down the control key and left click and on the right, on the light. All right. For me, it doesn't work. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, I see it. Okay. Now what next?
Hit M as in man on your keyboard.
All right, hold on. All right.
Bring up a little sub menu asking you, do you want a new collection? You click on the new collection at the top.
Got it.
Good. Now rename it. Lights, Camera, Action.
Okay.
I'll give you a few seconds to do that. And everybody let me know that you've got it.
Okay, I do have it
Okay,
now.
good. All right, we'll move forward. So what we've done, and if you look at my screen now, I've put everything inside a folder. Now for me, I've got these other two extra things in here that you don't have. Don't worry about it. Over on the left-hand side is your triangle. If I click it, it cascades them up. But on the left-hand side, you'll see an eyeball. And if you click the eyeball off, it makes it all go away. Right? Or turn it on, it brings it back, just like Photoshop. It's an eyeball right on your layer. So what I like you to do is just hit the eyeball off to turn it off. All right, now you have the cube inside there. I want you to delete the cube. Select the cube. It's going to highlight orange. That's how you know that your object is going to be targeted. And then all you're going to do is hit the X key on your keyboard. That's a shortcut for delete anything. The delete option comes up. You hit delete. So has everybody gotten to here?
What is that little monitor icon next to the eyeball under lights, camera, action? I don't have that on
We're
mine.
getting there.
Okay.
Okay. So
So large camera action only, and so there's only one item left in there now. It's just light.
right, when we deleted the cube, the only thing that's left is going to be your lights and your camera.
All right, got it. Wait, and the camera.
Did you have a
Wait a minute.
Did you have a camera in yours?
No, I don't.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Now, the next thing I was going to go to is you'll notice on my left side of the screen I have statistics. This is going to tell you about everything that you have in your scene, what you have selected, points, edges, and faces. So let's turn that option on. By default, it's not on. So how do we turn it on? Right over here, let's look at these viewing options. This will probably be a good time to kind of bring back in your cube. And the way you bring it back in, it's a shortcut you're going to use on a regular basis. Everything you do in Blender, you will not get past this shortcut. And that shortcut is Shift A for activating your 3D properties or your 3D objects. And what you want to do is go to Mesh, hover over the mesh, and then hover over Cube, and then left click on Cube to bring the cube back. That's how we access all of our 3D objects. Shift A. You won't forget it because you're going to be using it religiously.
Is that for Max as well?
I don't know. I couldn't stand Max.
So Shift A is for the add
Yeah,
menu.
for the add menu.
Okay. I don't remember that.
Okay. Now, we're going to deselect that cube, okay? But click anywhere outside in the empty space, and a cube is deselected.
Just a minute.
Sure.
I just if you click in, if you had the outliner activated, or if your mouse is hovering over the outliner, then Shift A does something different than if your mouse is hovering
That's
over
correct.
the viewport.
That's correct.
And that's even with Blender
Yeah.
activated. I just wanted to contribute that to the
Yeah,
discussion.
actually, Jen is actually correct. So, and she's right. Especially when we get into the animation portion of it, we're not going to really tackle animation to like the tail end of the class, but I'm going to do a separate class just on animation. But basically the way it works is wherever your cursor sits, it gives you a different function. So if I sit over here, Shift A does something different. If I see, I can have other properties here. If I come over to the navigational area, Shift A brings up your add tool. Okay, so we all have a cube here, right? Now, by default, you should be in your standard shading mode. How do you know if you're in your standard shading mode? It's right up here. These little buttons on the very, almost to the right, top of the screen, you'll see an overlay squares, a circular with lines through it. By default, it's the blue one with the white solid circle. That's your standard shading view in Blender. To the right of that is your texturing view, to view your textures on your object. Here you can't view your textures in the standard shading mode. This icon allows you to view your textures. This icon allows you to see your render. I can't see the render because my lights are turned off in the scene selection. If I turn the lights on, now I can see my 3D object. I don't want to worry about that right now. I'm going to turn the eyeball off on my lights, camera, and action and go back to my shaded view. So I want everybody to just kind of go to those icons and click on them and see the difference. And do that now. And I'm going to share with you when to utilize those viewing options.
Steve, how do I get my camera back?
Don't worry about your camera.
Okay.
I don't want you getting sidetracked. Just stick with me. Now that I've said that to you, Charles, I'll tell you how to get your camera back.
Okay.
So, remember, what's your shortcut for accessing all your 3D objects?
Shift A to add.
Shift A to add. Go down the list. Camera.
So you can add a camera with Shift A to
That's
add.
exactly right. You can Shift A will add anything and everything. Anything and everything you're ever going to need to model with is in Shift A. Oh, guess what? We have light probes, we got lights, we got images, we got empties. Empties is a null. If you're light wave users, we call them nulls. That's your empties. And you got all different types of good looking empties here. Planes with axes, arrows, circles, cubes, spheres, cones, all that stuff, or an image. We'll talk about other aspects of this a little bit later on. But that's how you add in your camera. Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
Thanks.
So right now, you guys basically see a naked cube here, right? Well, whenever we're modeling anything inside of any 3D program, we have points, edges, and faces. Always. Well, I can't see them here. Now, we're in object mode. There's two different types of modes. I'm going to talk about them in detail in just a few seconds. But right now, I want to see where my points, edges, and faces are physically on the cube. Well, if you go up here, look at we talked about the viewing modes, right? So I want everybody to go back to the standard shading view, which is basically this circle here with the blue square. So go back to that mode. Now, say for example, I have multiple objects on and I want to kind of see through them all. I've got X-ray mode. If I go two icons over and you see the two squares overlapping one another, if I now click that in combination, now you can see X-ray mode. You can see through to the other side of the square. Now, how do we navigate? Alt and left click rotates around your world view. I want you to play with it now. I want you to kind of get used to moving around like this. Alt and left click. If I want to pan it, like right to left and up and down, is Alt and Shift together held down, and left click and hold and drag up and down. Oops, I kind of up and down or right to left. That's the two-dimensional navigation. Up and down, right to left. There is no in and out. Just up and down, right to left. So Alt and rotate, Alt and Shift, and the last one to zoom in and out is Alt or Option if you're on a Mac, and Control or Command if you're on a PC. And zoom out, scroll your mouse up and down to zoom in and out. Play with those navigational keys. Alt.
Sorry, Stephen, that was Alt and what? Or Option
and that was Alt and Control held down to zoom in out, to zoom in and out.
Okay.
So in other words, Alt and Option or Control and Command if you're on a Mac.
Got it.
They're both held down to zoom in. So the key here, the key shortcut is Alt, right? Alt alone rotates. Alt with Shift pans. Alt with Control zooms.
Unless you're one of those annoying Mac people, and it would be optional.
Well, it's the same. It's the same shortcut. It's just Command is Control and Option is Alt.
Got it.
The shortcuts are exactly the same.
They're just labeled differently.
Well, that's just Mac. It's an Apple thing.
Yeah.
All right. Now that you know how to navigate, and you're going to do this regularly, whenever you build anything in a 3D program, you're going to get in close and you're going to inspect it in all different directions and make sure it's looking exactly the way you want it to look before you go on the model or the details. And then you're going to zoom out to take a look at it. You're going to zoom in and take a look at it, and it's going to be intuitive, right? You're not going to stumble around and futz around. You will right now because you're getting used to it, but the more you do this, and I'm going to send everybody home with homework, you're going to play with these shortcuts. You're going to have the video to help you, and all this is going to be intuitive. All right. As I started talking about, I want to be able to see my points, edges, and my faces. Right now, I just see the physical three-dimensional cube. I can see where they're joining and guess where the points are going to be. But if I physically want to see them, I have to go into the options for my viewing ports here. And they're called overlays. So just to the right of the X-ray view, that little X-ray button, just not to the right, but just to the left of the X-ray button here, we're looking right up here in the top right-hand side of the screen, or close to the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see two circles overlapping each other. If I hit the drop-down list for that circle, everybody should be watching me, and I'm going to let you do it. You've got overlay options. Statistics is what we checked last time, right? Same location. Now we go down to geometry, right at the bottom section. You have wireframe, and I can select it. And Dave, I think I'm going to answer your question right now that you asked last night. So if I go back, wireframe, look, 1.0. What if let's see. Is that the opacity? Let's see if I go 0.5. Is that that's the opacity over here. Let me see if I go to 2. No, I only go to 1. Okay, we'll just leave it alone. So wireframe is checked. Opacity is 1. I guess I can bring down the opacity of the wireframe if I feel it's too strong and keep it at 1. Okay, and now I can see my wireframe. If I turn off,
they hide things all over the place.
Yeah, they can. But the Blender is so powerful and gives you so much flexibility. That's why it's sophisticated. That's why things are all over the place, because it gives you complete control over every aspect. All right, there we go. So if I select this, now you can see physically where your edges are.
Steve, I don't see that.
You don't see what?
I don't see the wireframe. I selected it.
Well, now, if you if for this step, Charles, you don't need to select it necessarily. But if you unselect it, do you see the black edges?
There's one more. You see it in the upper right hand, the icon.
Oh, I
with the
see
two
it.
squares.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure, in my case, the icon with the two squares, I needed that activated to see the benefit of those
So if
settings.
I turn that off, that's the X-ray view, Charles. If I turn it off like this, now I'm out of X-ray view and I'm just looking at the forward surface or the normal surface of the cube.
Okay, yeah.
And when
I see what you're. Yeah, I was.
Don't worry,
I was looking for something more vivid on the wireframe. But I see it now.
So I'm gonna turn off the X-ray view. So when I say normal surface, Charles, that's a technical term. The normals is the face that's actually you can see the texture on. It's the portion of the polygon that's facing you. That's viewable. The viewable portion of the polygon that's facing you is your normals. Normal direction. All right, there we go. So that's pretty much it, I think. Let me take a look at my... Oh, we got one more thing. One more thing. So this is going to be cool. Now we're going to get into some cool stuff because the navigational capabilities of Blender is freaking phenomenal. I mean, talk about total control over everything. It's phenomenal. For example, on the left-hand side, you're going to see your navigational options. You've got your, you got your tweak, your cursor. We're gonna avoid those two on the left-hand side. This one, the first one that I have selected here, is your move tool. The second one is for rotation one, right below is for rotation, and your next one is for scale. And the transform, which is right below that, will give you transforming, rotation, and moving all in one widget. Now, let's go explore shortcuts. That's going to really revolutionize how you navigate in Blender. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to let you guys play with this next. I want you to watch me right now. I'm zooming out so I have enough space to move things around. I'm turning on the 3D widget just so that you can identify the X, Y, and Z axis visually. So I can click and drag and place this where I want, if that's what you prefer. I'm hitting Control Z for undo to bring it back. Just like in all programs, Microsoft Word, Photoshop, Control Z is undo. Now, the shortcut for move is G for go. So watch this. I want you to watch me first, and I'm going to let you guys play with this. Now, this is something I did not teach in the one-day class. If I hit the G key, it means go. That means it attaches itself to my cursor. And and if I left click, it'll leave it where I left click. I'm going to hit Control Z for undo. Now watch, I'm going to do it again. G, it attaches it to my cursor. Now, I want to restrict the movement only to the Z axis. Now, here's something you got to pay attention to. Do not left click. That's the one weird thing about Blender. In most 3D programs, including Lightwave, you left click and drag to do something. In Blender, you do not. Once it's attached, you don't touch any buttons. I want to restrict it only to the Z axis. All you do, hit the Z key. Boom. Now we're only going to Z axis. I have not left click. I'm going to leave it alone. Oh, I want to go on the Y axis. Now I hit the Y key. Oh, now I can go to the Y key. Now the X, hit the X on the keyboard. I can go to the X. Z. Y. X. And then click where I want it, and I'm done. I want you guys to practice that. And I'm going to stop recording, start recording. Now, here we go. To quickly navigate or to jump your selected object to view, let me turn on all my lights and everything so I have multiple objects in there. If you hit the home key, that means, remember Zari talked about like jump to view or something like that. Hit the home key, that jumps everything to view. So if it's like way back here or something like this, hit the home key, boom, it jumps it to view.
What's the home key? What's the home key?
On your keyboard, read it. The home key is on your keyboard. It says home.
Gotcha, yeah. Oh, gotcha, yeah, all right.
So if I want to zoom into only the selected rectangle, I want to ignore the lights, ignore the camera in there, and just zoom into only the selected object. On the numeric side of your keyboard, the numeric numpad, hit the period key, and that zooms into just the selected object. So home to view everything in your 3D environment. Period on the numeric keyboard to zoom in to the cube only. Now in Lightwave, it's A and Shift A.
Thank you. Thank you.
But not in Blender. Don't do that in Blender. Okay. All right. Now, let's do a 5-minute break. I'm going to pause the recording. Yeah, thanks, Jen. That's great. Let's see, www.blender.org. We all know about, and your hot. You can download your PDF file for hotkeys here as well. And then there's a lot of hotkeys, but we'll address them as we work together. Keep a strict eye on Blender. They're consistently updating, like practically every week. So keep an eye on the latest, greatest version. I think they just released 3.2.1 like a week and a half ago. So, and they always got these updates going on. Support, let's see, tutorials. Let's see, where are the hotkeys? Usually I'll either come here or do a Google search for hotkeys for the latest, greatest version of Blender. But you can get that there. And I too am still learning all the different hotkeys. So there's a lot of them that I don't know yet. But once I learn them, I force myself to use them because I'll forget easily.
Steve, how do you get it to check for updates?
Well, Jen has a clever little way of doing it. I forget what it is, but basically just go to the
Chocolatey. Do you have a Mac or a PC?
PC.
Oh, good. Because there's a package manager for PCs called Chocolatey, and let me put the link for that in the chat because Chocolatey. This is what makes it so cool. You know how like for your phone, if you have a smartphone, let's see if you. Let's see if I spelled it correctly.
Okay, so the Blender Hotkeys Native. I just downloaded. Is that a PDF file, Jen, that you put in for the Blender Hotkeys?
The first one is a JPEG. I wanted to show you like what I've got set up on my machine, on my Blender. So look at the JPEG to see what I did. It's nothing fancy. But here if you look at what I did, I opened up a text window. And then I loaded a text file into the text window that has the Blender hotkeys. However, at this time, and I put the text file as an incomplete hotkey text. Because
I'm going to call you and talk to you about like this in person. I don't want to share this with anybody just yet. It's just going to throw everybody off. So let's not even go there. But you and I will talk in person so I can see what you did, and then as we get much more used to Blender later on, we can readdress this.
I put the link to Chocolatey.
Cool.
In the chat.
Okay.
In the chat, and that's how I keep Blender up to date because it'll just check for me if my Blender is up to date or not, and if it's not, then I can just click update, and I got the latest Blender.
Quick question. There's no way to see vertices,
Oh yes,
is
there
there?
is. Don't worry, we're getting there.
Okay, good.
Okay, we're getting
good.
there.
There is an easier way to keep Blender updated. If you install Steam and establish an account, you can buy games and all sorts of programs through it. You can download Blender through Steam and it will automatically update Blender for you whenever the program starts.
Nice.
Okay.
And you can get Substance Painter and the other stuff through it too.
Okay. All right, let's move on, guys. We got a lot to cover. Okay, so if I click on this object, you'll notice the origin point.
Did you start recording again?
I did. Thank you for reminding me.
Professionally.
I didn't forget. There are times I might forget, but this time I didn't forget. So every object is going to have an origin point, and it's usually going to be dead center of the object. Now, can you move this origin point? Yes, you can. If I come right up in, now remember our viewing options. We have our X-ray view, our standard shading view. Now let me show you another view. This view is just simply your frame view, right? Just looking at the edges. All right. If you don't want to see it in shading mode, you can go to the frame view, right? I'm gonna go back to the shading view. I'm forgetting my train of thought here. Where was I going with this?
You were going to move the origin?
All right, now, that was weird. So right up here in your viewing modes here, to the very far right-hand side, just below it, you see options. If you drop the options down, you'll see a couple of boxes, origins and locations. If you check them, this no longer will move the object, but will move the origin point only. If I move the origin point, say, off to the side, and then I have to go back to the options and uncheck option origins and locations. Once that's done, if I'm in my transform tool, so you have a visual connection, I can rotate now around that, or that now becomes my origin point location. Right? So if I go back and put origins and locations again, let's move it off back here to the side too. Just move the origin point right there. Now that's my new origin location. I want to set it for that. I will just simply uncheck origins and locations.
Steve, how do you restore it to where it originally was? Okay.
All right. So now, how do I get it back? Very, very easy. While you're in object mode, we're going to talk about edit mode in just a little bit. Put your mouse over your object. Right click. Set origin, so the fourth one down. Go to the second submenu, origin to geometry. Click it, boom, there it is. I want to check something out real quick.
Can you repeat that one, Steve?
Right click on the object, set origin, origin to geometry.
Okay.
Question.
So what is the
What's the thinking? What's the thought behind moving the origin
We're not going
point?
to talk about it yet. We will.
Okay.
Because you're going to use it.
Okay.
All right, now let's do this. Let me go. I want to move the object. I'm going to uncheck those there. Okay. Let me do something. Come on. Okay. I want to make another point here. A second. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Accidentally deleted it. Shift A. Go back to my mesh. Go to the cube and bring it back. All right, now. Here's another little technique. Say we moved it off somewhere in space. You decide later on that you want to take it right back to the 000 origin point. This is the question that Zari asked before. What's the shortcut for bringing it back to 000? You want to reset it back again? Alt G. Remember G for go? We'll move it. So if I hit the G for go, it'll attach myself to the mouse, place it wherever I want. If I want to reset it, Alt often means reset. So Alt G resets it back to 000. If I take the object, remember the shortcut for rotate? R for rotate, X on the X-axis. I'm gonna rotate it like so. What's the shortcut for resetting rotate, guys?
Alt-R.
Excellent.
Alt-R.
Alt-R. Oh, wait a minute. How come it's not? Oh, you know what? My machine's got the shortcut map to something else, so it should work on your machine. All right. Another way to handle it, which you're probably going to use more often, is these little submenus which you don't see. If you look right up here at your viewing options, and you'll see a little teeny triangle going down vertical along the side. It'll be probably up here near the cube, just to the left of the cube. If you click it, you've got more menus in here. If I click on the item, I've got the location, rotation, and scale. The location is giving me 0, 7.8. I can just click it, hit the 0, and zero it out that way. I can do it that way as well, by editing the direct numerical locations right here under the locations option for the item. I'll let you guys play with that for a second. I'll pause recording. That's right. So watch me first right now. Just watch me first. So right up here in the top right hand corner, because I have these extra icons available here, you don't have them by default. So if I go to that little funnel symbol right there, drop it down, and I want to highlight blue, the arrow, the eyeball, the monitor, and the camera. Once it's done, just click off, it'll go away, and now you will see them displayed on the right hand side.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Now, we're almost done with setup. All I want you to do is this. Select your cube and hit delete, or X key in your keyboard and then hit delete. Why are we doing this? Because now we have Blender set up the way we like it, right? If I close out Blender and reopen it, it'll reset again back to its default, and I don't want to do that. I want my default interface the way I like it, and I want it to open up that way every single time I open up Blender. And the last thing I want Blender to do is to open up with a cube in the middle. So I deleted the cube, but all my interfaces are and everything else laid out is all intact.
So just select the cube, and delete it.
Cube and delete it.
And I'm not hitting delete on my keyboard, but I'm looking for delete. X key.
Is delete in Blender.
Got it. Okay.
All right.
Got it. Okay.
Now, I have the X-ray view on right up here in my viewing options. Once again, I'm going to turn that off. So by default, it's going to stay off. So when I open up Blender, I want everything to be reset just like I see it. How do we do it? I want to save these preferences. Easy. File menu, defaults, save startup file, save the startup file, done. Now, if you close out Blender right now and reopen it again, and I'm going to do it right now in front of you, I'm going to say don't save it, don't need to save this interface that particular object. Now I'm gonna go back to Blender. I'm gonna go find it here. Go to my apps there. Go to Blender. There she is. Open it up. Give it a little time to think. And there it is. Click anywhere. There it is. All reset exactly with my icons and everything in place exactly the way I left it.
Where again is say startup file?
File menu.
Oh, okay.
Default.
Oh, okay.
Startup file.
Got it. Okay. Got it. Okay.
Cool. All right, now let's go into editing, guys. We're gonna do it just. Yes, sir.
Ben, the objects, vertices, and edges. Where was that?
David, we haven't gotten there yet.
You showed us. You showed
We
us.
haven't gotten there yet. We're getting ready to do it now.
It's over here on the left-hand
Just
side.
listen
by
to
the
me. Listen to me
toolbar.
and just
Okay.
stick with me,
Okay.
okay? All right. We haven't
Okay.
gotten to editing yet. We're getting ready to do it right now. So I want everybody to do is to add a cube to your scene. Shift A, cube, and there we've got it. When you mentioned, Dave, cubes, edges, and vertices, you confused me a little bit. And now I think I just realized what you were asking was the wireframe option, turning on the wireframe. That's up here under your overlays. Now, if that was turned on, if you followed me and that was already turned on, that should automatically be set in your default file now. So when you boot up Blender, it'll always show up in wireframe.
I did turn it on. I just couldn't remember where it
All right,
was.
guys, I misunderstood you. I thought you were talking about editing your points, edges, and say surfaces. Sorry about that. Now, we're going to edit our cube. So to edit anything, guys, you gotta select it first. Tell Blender what it is you're going to edit. All right. If you like, hit the period key on the numeric side of your keyboard to zoom in close. I don't have X-ray view. I'm going to leave it off just for now. Alt and Option to kind of rotate it around, inspect the cube, and we're going to do something to this. So Control and Alt or Command and Option, we can zoom back a little bit so I'm going to edit my top surface of my cube. In order to edit it, I have to be in editing mode. The way we get there is Tab key, edit mode. Okay. Now I don't want you to do anything yet. I just want you to go into edit mode, and guess what? You can see your surfaces, your faces. Now how do I access points, edges, and surfaces? Right up here, you see the very top left-hand corner on the right-hand side of the edit mode option.
Real quick, I didn't hear how you got into edit mode.
Tab key,
Tab, okay.
edit mode.
Tab, okay.
And that's the only way to go back and forth between edit besides coming up here to the top left-hand corner and physically selecting object in edit mode, which is what you don't want to be doing.
Now you hold the tab key, and then what do you do to get edit mode?
Left click on edit mode.
Oh, I got it. Oh, I got it.
Good. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to go to edit mode. All right, watch me, guys, for now. Next step. I want to do the points mode. I want to look at the edges. So right up here, just to the right of the edit mode option, I can click on edges. Oh, look at my points show up here, right? My points may be bigger than yours. Why? I think now I have to remember where I did this. It's under your preferences, and I got to remember where I had this. I think it's under viewport. Axis. No, it's not under. No, it isn't. It's under. Oh gosh, I'm forgetting where I put it. Interface. It's under interface. Menus, renders. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting where this is. It's not under editing. Navigation. The key map. No, I don't think it's underneath there. Under system. No, it's not under system. Gosh, I'm forgetting where navigation. Okay, I think it's under the. Let me check viewport one more time. Subdivision selection. I think it's going to be under the themes. User interface tools. Oh my gosh, I forgot where this is. Sorry about that. All right, I'll figure it out.
I googled it. I googled it. You were in the right place. It's under themes, and then you go to 3D viewport, and then you got to scroll all the way down to the bottom of 3D viewport. 3D viewport section. 3D viewport section. So uncollapse the 3D viewport section.
User interface there.
3D viewport. Collapsed 3D
Yeah.
user interface, uncollapsed 3D
There it
viewport,
is.
which is like
There it
5,
is.
6
You
M.
gotta scroll.
You gotta scroll all the way
That's
down.
It's huge.
There
It's huge.
I completely forgot. And I just did this 2 nights ago.
Set it and forget
Well,
it.
set
Yeah,
it
like-
and forget it. Like once
See,
you
look
have
at
something
that.
you
Ver-
like,
need to go back.
you don't need to
Yeah,
go
so
back.
there you go. Vertex size. I think mine was set for 6. So I'll make a little. I think mine was set for 7, right? I might make it a little bigger. Maybe go like 8 or 9. There we go. That'll make it a lot easier. So, and of course, here are all your colors. You guys can play with this. Come in through the themes and kind of look at the various aspects of the interface and see if there's something you might like better. But it's really in depth. I mean, it's way more in depth than Lightwave. I mean, Lightwave doesn't have this detail of total control of your interface. Okay, there we go. I got sidetracked there.
See, that's what I was calling about
Exactly.
last night.
Well, we did that together last night, and that's why I was mad at myself, because I forgot where it was, because we figured it out last night and was playing around with it. Okay, anyways, now
Before you go on, how do you get to vertex size? Because mine are very
okay,
visible.
so if you go watch me again, edit menu, preferences, theme, over here, 3D, go find that down here. 3D, there we go, 3D viewport. Drop it down.
Let's see.
And all the way down on the bottom, there's your vertex size right there.
Not edge size. Not edge size. Huh?
Edge size. Is there an edge size? Should be an edge size in there too.
I thought so.
Outline
I thought
width.
so.
Outline width is 1 pixel right now. So if I go bigger, let's see what happens if let me go to the edge view. Oh, that should have gotten bigger. You know what? I don't know on the outline. You would think it would be right here, right?
Yeah, it makes sense for it. Yeah, it makes sense for it to be there.
I have to figure that out. And I'll get back to you guys next time.
Point of note, if you make those changes, save a new default startup.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But you don't. But you don't need to, and let me show you why. I know, David, that's the logical thing for you to think, is to save new default. If you go to the preferences, right here to the bottom left-hand corner, click that hamburger menu, the 3 lines. It's already set to auto-save preferences. So you don't need to do it.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Now, if I go to point editing mode, if I click anywhere, it deselects. If I click and drag a rectangle selection, I can select individual points. I can hit the G key to move those points around, left click to resize it, right? So if I hit the G key, I can restrict to what? Hit the Z, hit the X, or hit the Y, and are restricted along those axes.
Steve, how do you set the vertex color?
Let's not worry about that right now. The vertex color is in the exact same place where I sent you before.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not seeing. Is there an item that actually says vertex color?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that just yet because we don't have enough time.
Okay. My reason for asking is because it's hard for me to see.
I totally get it. And it's okay. I'll tell you what. Since you say it that way, I'm gonna go to preferences and just address it. It should be in the same spot. I thought I saw it there. So 3D viewport. Go down at the bottom, and it should be right in here. Right. So you got your vertex, and all your overlay colors are in these menus. You're gonna have to kind of vertex normals, split normals. It's somewhere in this menu.
Okay.
And you're just going to have to read through it.
All right.
There it is, vertex select right there. You see that, Charles?
Okay,
And the thing is, I can take forever and get you guys lost in this, and we're just going to lose time.
no, I understand.
I
understand.
This is something you're going to have to kind of go explore on your own, look in here and see what you've got and what it might appear. Do some changes and see how Lightwave Blender changes.
Looks like active vertex that gives you an option to change. Okay.
Active
Make one change at a time.
Yeah, I agree. Make one change at a time to kind of discover. All right, now we can also select edges. If I go to the right hand side of my point editing mode, I can go to edge editing mode and select my edges. Try doing that, and of course I can modify those edges. If I want to select the faces only, I can click on the face option, and there you go. Just like in most 3D programs, the face is going to highlight.
Steven, can you shift group like a couple of edges at the same time, or
thinking? Do it. Shift select. All right. Shift select. Shift select. Now I've got those three and nothing else selected. Okay, let's do some editing. I'm going to show you some basic editing techniques, and you're going to be using those techniques for the rest of your modeling life. If you want to transfer between point, edges, and face editing mode, here are the shortcuts. The number one key on the letter side of your keyboard on the top is vertex editing mode. The number 2 key is edge editing mode. The number 3 key is face editing mode. Play with it now. I'm going to pause recording and let you guys play. When you select for your edges, points and polys, you're not selecting the numeric side of your keyboard. You're selecting the numbers above your letters on your keyboard. Top left-hand corner, 1, 2, and 3. The numeric side is something different. I'm going to talk about that in just a second.
So when I hit those numbers, it just changes the angle of the.
Don't worry, I'm going to address that in a little bit, but I want you to hit the numbers on the letter side of the keyboard.
Yeah.
Number 1 key for points. All right. Number 2 for edges. And number 3 for the surfaces.
Yeah, I don't think. I'm on a laptop, so I only have.
Purchase a full keyboard from Amazon, Bluetooth that'll connect to your laptop.
Okay. Yeah, I can get one of those. Okay. Yeah, I can get one of those. So until I do that, the only way to select,
is edit menu, preferences, input. Where's my input? Input here. Emulate numpad. Okay. We did that in the very beginning.
Okay. Previously.
Okay. Now you can use your numbers on the top of your keyboards to change your point of view. So what he's talking about, guys, is, as you have just seen, the numbers above your letters is your edge, points, and surface editing. If you want to view your orthographic views, in other words, your side view, front view, top view, that's on the numeric side of your keyboard. So on the numeric side, the number 1 key is the front face view. This is a 2-dimensional view. Go odd numbers. Number 3 key is the side view. The number 7 key, again going odd numbers, is the top view. And you will use those views on a regular basis. Practice doing that. 1 for front face, 2, with 3 for the side, and 7 for the top. Okay. Let's do some modeling. All eyes on me Don't play. I'm going to have you watch me first, and then I'm going to let you guys do it next. You're going to use a couple tools, or several tools, but a couple of tools religiously. Inset and extrude. Inset and extrude. So I want to change the top face of my cube, which means I want to inset it in a little bit to create more geometry. What's the first letter of inset? I. Hit the I. Don't left click. Just drag your mouse. Inset it in. Now, once you get to the point where you want it to be, left click and it's set. Get to that point. What I'll do is I'll do it again just to help you out here. I'm gonna hit the undo. Okay. I will extrude this. E key for extrude. Bring it on up. I'm gonna get out of rendering mode. I accidentally clicked that. And then I'm going to duplicate this selected surface. Shift D. It attaches to my mouse. And I can always hit the Z key to restrict it to the Z axis, and then left click. And that sets it right above there. So I just want you guys to get to this point. And then let me know when you're done.
Done.
Done?
Done.
Okay. Good? Okay. All right, so I'm assuming everybody else is okay? Anybody else need a little more time?
I'm actually not okay, but I'll go back and review.
All right, what I'd like you to do, since your 3D your 3D widget should be selected, and this help, and having that selected helps with educational purposes. I want you to just go to your X axis to rotate, and just click and hold. Just put your mouse right on the red circle and just rotate it like this. And you can see you're getting kind of a navigational view in that frosted highlight telling you how many degrees that you're rotating. Now take notice that when I rotated this, the 3D widget is still pointing up and down. Z-axis up, Y-axis going in and out, and the X-axis going right to left, right? That's kind of like unexpected, but there's a reason for that. Right up here, dead center, you'll see global. Drop it down and look at all the different axes you can actually navigate in. This is just phenomenal. I can change the axis. So for example, go to local view, probably going to be the same as the global view. Global view is your X, Y, and Z for global space. So that's exactly where these lines are coming together right down here in global space. Local space is going to act kind of the same, but in respect to the location of the object. So local and global is going to be kind of the same. Now, I don't want global and local. I want to be able to rotate this based on the face normal of this particular object. So I'm thinking, okay, that's a little inconvenient for me to visualize how I want to move this. But if I go over here to normal, watch what happens. Boom, look. It reset the widget to the normals of the front face of my polygon. The normals is a line that's perpendicular to the viewable face of your polygon. Now, hopefully everybody's still watching me and not doing it. I'm going to let you guys do it in just a minute. Now, I'm going to go to gimbal. What's gimbal? It's that white line there, right? I can also do view. Now, check this out. View means the widgets stay positioned based on your angle of view. Look at that. Incredible flexibility. And it's going to take you for a while to kind of get used to this when you're modeling, because everybody's going to have their own different style of modeling. And if we go down here to cursor, Now this is cool. Click on the cursor. Well, where's the cursor? See that little circle here with the white and checker pattern? That's your 3D cursor. So and now that becomes your your point that you're going to navigate around. And we're gonna we're gonna address all this a little bit later. All right, now the last thing I want to show you is this. If I want to delete this polygon, I'll go to my front face and hit X key on the keyboard, and it's going to ask you some questions. What do you want to delete? Vertices, edges, faces? I want the whole face deleted. So I want you to delete that now. I'm going to pause recording and let you guys do that. Give you a few seconds. That's another gotcha on Blender. If you accidentally turn off this overlay option, a lot of things go away, including your widgets if you're in object mode. Your background goes away, or your ground plane goes away visually. It's still there. It's just visually not showing.
Steve, when you're using the rotation widget, is there any way of typing the angle? Like if you need an exact
For example,
angle?
I want to rotate on the x-axis. Great question. R for rotate. X for the axis, I'm going to restrict it to. And how many degrees? Let's say 35 degrees. 3,5. Boom. There it is. Oh, I want to go negative 3,5. Negative 3,5. 3,5. The other way, yeah. Or right down here in the bottom is your options options for your rotate. Hit that little arrow on the top left-hand side. You can type it in right there. Just like in Lightwave or any 3D program. Now here's the gotcha in Blender, guys. Once you set this and you click it off, you're done. It doesn't come back. So you want to set your parameters correctly. All right, one last thing, and we're going to do something practical. I want to add more geometry to this shape. You're going to use your slicing command. The shortcut is Command R. Once I hit Command R, wherever your cursor sits, it'll create a slice that's perpendicular to the edge that you're touching. If I go to my scroll wheel in the middle of the mouse, scroll it up, I get more slices. Scroll it back to down, I get less slices. If I click and release, I can reposition them along the surface, or left click one last time to commit my changes, and I've just added more slices. Get to that point. Control R activates the slice command. Place your cursor near one of the edges, and it'll create a slicing perpendicular to that edge. And then roll your scroll wheel to add more edges or less edges. We got 10 minutes left, and I want to get into it. I want you guys to watch a practical application of this. And what we're going to do next is what you guys are going to do for homework. I'm going to start a brand new file. So you're just going to watch me, and you guys are going to accomplish this for homework. This next thing. So file menu, I'm going to go to new and go to general. So what is Blender going to do? It's going to reset my interface. I don't want to save it. I'm going to say don't save. right back to my default interface the way that I like to use it. Because it's reading from that default file, right? Okay. Now, I'm going to bring in an image. Let me go over here to, let's see if I should have Bridge open here. There we go. All right. I asked you guys to download some folders on Google Drive. And I've got those same folders here. And I'm going to open up that image right there. So I want to open up this image I want to open up this image on a polygon with the image already mapped on here. We're not going to get into texturing just yet. I want to show you a quick little way to handle this. So I'm going to, I've got it now. For you, it's going to be in a folder called West Hills, and inside the West Hills folder, it'll be under Images. Okay, so I'm going to get out and go into Blender. How do I bring this in? I'm going to go in the front face view. Go to the number 1. It doesn't really matter so much. So I'll try. I tell you what. Let me try the side view. Put it in the side view. Shift A, because I'm going to bring in another 3D object. Go down the images. Bring in the images as planes. Remember that option that we checked inside the add-ons folder in Blender, images as planes? Now it shows up. If I click it, I need to go get the image. So I'm going to go navigate over to my drive, my presentations folder, my Blender and modeling class and textures 1. There's my images folder. And I'm going to go down. I think it's down toward the bottom. There it is, right there. I'm going to select it. That's all I'm going to do is select it. Everything else is going to stay default for now. So all I want to do is bring in this image and put it on a polygon, on a flat plane. Import the image as plane, and there it is. Okay. Now, if I want to zoom in close, period key on the numeric side of my keyboard, Alt to kind of spin it around. All right, I don't see an image on it. The reason is because I'm inside the standard shading view. If I click the icon to the left for the texture view, boom, there it is. So I have my building on my polygon. I'm going to go ahead and turn this around so it's right side up. Now I've got a polygon. The goal here is to use the editing tools which I've just taught you to take this image and turn it into a 3-dimensional object. Because right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my lights. In fact, I tell you what, I'm going to, you'll probably have lights already added in, but I'm going to add in a light so you can see kind of the workflow. Shift A. I'm going to go to the light, and I'm going to add in the sunlight. All right, the sunlight by default is in the dead center. If I use my 3D widget to pull it out a little bit, okay, and I'm navigating to zoom it out, I can pull it up. You see the little ball there? I'm going to pull it out toward the front, like the sunlight's going to be coming down kind of from the front, but it's going to be pointing for kind of like a 45-degree angle. I'm going to just push it back just a little bit. And that little ball is showing you the direction of the light. So I'm going to pull the little ball on over right toward, there you go, right toward the building. Okay. All right, so there's my sunlight. Now, how do I improve the brightness of my light source? Well, once the light is targeted, all I'm going to do is hit the light bulb symbol there. And that light bulb symbol shows me the properties of the light. The strength is what you're interested in. So if I pull it up stronger, let's see what it does. Is that in the sunlight? That's a sunlight mode. Oh, you know what? I got to go over to the render view. So I'm going to go to the render view. That's the texture view. If I go to the render view, now I can see my light. There we go. All right, I'm going to get in closer. And I can bring the light down or up or down or up like that. So I'm at 10. We want to keep it there for now. There is no shadows on here because this is a flat plane. So if I click on the plane itself right there, remember we told it in the options to rotate around selected object. Now that's selected, I can rotate around that. Now it's a plane, it's not three-dimensional, so I don't see shadows underneath the ledges of my building. I need to build those in. And we're going to do one side so that you can see the difference. And this is what you're going to do for homework. You're going to take a plane, get a picture of a front face of a wall, and you're going to model it out so that it's going to become a three-dimensional entity. Now, if I take a look at this image, I've got several aspects to the image, right? I've got the support edge. You got the stucco, which the support edge sinks into the stucco a little bit, and then the support edge itself for the window support edge actually sinks in deeper to display the window. Okay, so I want to actually mimic that. So if I'm going to edit this, what do I need to do, guys?
Go into edit mode.
Excellent.
Go into
How do
edit
I go
mode.
into edit mode?
Tab.
Excellent.
Tab. And left click. And
That's right. Left click edit mode. Now I'm in edit mode, and it highlights my face right up here. It says edge editing selected. We don't need to worry about that. I'm going to turn it off for now by clicking anywhere in this outside area. Now I need to create additional slices to start creating my window. All right, let's do it. Shift R. Sorry. Somehow I jumped out of edit mode. There we go. Control R, not Shift R. Control R. There's my slice, right? I can note it's perpendicular to whatever edge I select. Click and hold. Now I want to drag that out to get the outside of the window, just to the outside of the facing. And click. Done. Let's do the other side. Control R. Left click and hold. Drag it on over, get the outside of the facing. And I can zoom in close to inspect it. Say, for example, you want to edit that edge. You want to kind of, you really wanted to slide it to the left or to the right a little bit more. Here's a trick that I haven't taught you yet. The shortcut is double G. Double G. And now I can slide it wherever I want on the face of the polygon. And then wherever I put it, I'm going to put it back to where it was. Left click, and there it is. You're going to use that a lot. All right. So I've got the right and the left side of the window selected. Let's do the top. Command R once again. Go down to this side. Click and hold and drag it and do the window there. Now let's go down to the bottom section here. Command R. I'm going to say it's going to go right about there, right above that ledge. So we also need to do a ledge, right? We want the ledge to come out. We want the window to sink in, and we want the ledge to pop out, right? So let's create an additional a line so that we can pull out the ledge. Control R. There it is. It sees it because I'm close to another edge and it's perpendicular to it. Click and hold and drag it to right about there. We'll just do it to right about there. Here's where the fun begins. All right, let's start with the outer facing. I want to select that whole polygon face. What do I do, guys?
Go to face mode.
Excellent.
Go to face
Number
mode.
3 key for face mode. What do I do next?
Click on the polygon or click on the polygon
Excellent.
or click on
Click on the face. What do I do next?
E.
Excellent.
E.
E key for extrude. And push it in just a little bit because it's just stucco, right? Just a little bit, about that much. And then left click to commit my changes. All right. Now, number 3 key for front facing mode, or Control 3, allows you to see the opposite side of the face. I want to be here. Okay. Now I'm going to click anywhere to turn it off, the facing mode. Now, if I turn off, let's get out of the render mode and go to the standard shading mode very quickly. See, that's what I've done. I've just pushed that in. So this technique that I'm showing you is going to be very, very handy if you want to create a background with all types of architectural detail, but you don't want to build the architecture. You just want it to be in the background to represent buildings, and you can quickly start molding three-dimensional shapes in the photograph to allow the photograph to represent most of the visual detail, but those additional 3D spaces to actually interact with the light source, the 3D light source in the scene, to make it look like you actually built a whole city in 3D, which you didn't. So, all right, let's go back to my render mode, okay? Now, matter of fact, if I go back to standard texture mode, that should work too. That helps too. Now, you can see right there, the reason I went to texture mode was because the render mode takes up a lot more of my graphics card's resources, right? Because it's actually rendering reflections, detail, and all. Here, it's just showing me the texture, and it's also showing me the depth of the polygon, and I can work a lot faster. All right, now, I want to create the inset for the window, right? So watch. What do I do?
I for inset. I for inset.
What do I do first?
Oh, you
Select it.
Polly. Oh,
That's
you
right,
select
select
it,
it.
Polly.
I for inset, and slowly drag it to kind of get as close as I can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Get as close as I can. And then left click and done. What do I do next?
Extrude.
Excellent.
Extrude.
Extrude. E for extrude. Now I'm going to extrude this even further because that seal is even deeper. Okay. Okay, so what are we doing here? We're quickly doing a 3D. So we're almost there. We got to do the ledge, right? Let's do the ledge. Select the ledge. And this time we want the ledge to come out, right? It's coming out toward us. And actually, was that where I want? Yeah, that's what I want. Okay. So E key for extrude. This time we're going to come out. And the polygons are UV mapped to this entire 3D shape. So there it is. Now,
What do you mean by UV maps? What do you mean by
we'll talk
UV
about that
maps?
later. But basically we'll talk about it in detail later, but basically what it means is that the image is actually glued on to the surface of the geometry. So as I pull things out and push things in, the image actually sticks to the surface of the geometry.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so what did I do? Let's go to render mode. The very last icon on the right hand side, and oh my gosh, look at the shadows I'm getting in there. It looks like it's actually interacting with the 3D environment. All right, so the left-hand side has no shadows because obviously it's a flat surface, while the right-hand side, it's interacting. It's rendering all the shadow detail because there's actual geometry in there. You can see some pulling in here, but there's some UV techniques we're gonna cover much later. But for now, that's really what I want you to do. So define images like this, like a front face of a store or a building that you want to actually kind of use this particular technique on. You're going to use some free texturing sites, which are fabulous. Let me go over here. One of them is going to be textures.com. So if I put in buildings here in the search bar and click for search, you've got them all there. And you can scroll through this to find out what buildings you might like to use for this particular technique. There's another site. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to drop this into the chat box, so you guys have that. Go to the chat box there. There we go. Textures.com. There. There's another site you're going to pay attention to. Let me go over here to my options. 3D textures right there. Okay. Ambient CG. Some great stuff there for PBR textures. We're going to be getting into that later on, so I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the link to that one. And the last thing I'm going to give you, now again, don't worry about these textures right now. I just want you to have this handy. Later on, I'm going to show you how to apply them. But for right now, Polyhaven is outstanding. So I'm going to give you the link to that as well. All right. So for homework, all you're going to be doing is using your slicing. And actually, let me turn this off. I'm going to get out of texture mode or rendering mode and go back to my standard shading mode. This is what we've done. Now we're going to get in more sophisticated uses later. But for right now, stick to using your slicing tool and basically strategize a way of how to place the slices so that you can extrude some simple shapes out of a single flat polygon surface.
Steve, was there be textures on the poly? Seeing the textures on the poly in OpenGL
Okay, sorry
mode?
about that. Say that again.
Is there a way of seeing the textures on the poly without going
Yes.
into render mode,
Yes.
just like
You
a
can go to texture
OpenGL?
mode. That's OpenGL mode right there.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. That's
Okay, thanks.
And
Yeah.
Is there a place, do we upload our
is there a
homework
place? Do we
anywhere,
upload
or
our
is it-
homework
Yes.
anywhere, or
No,
is
no,
it
this- I
for
wanna see
personal
your homework.
practice?
This is where you do it. I'm gonna do it right in front of you right now. I'm gonna create a new Google Drive link. I see. I want this one here. There we go. Let me bring this on over. Stop that video. And oh, sorry, wrong one. I want to grab that one. Come on, select it. Thank you. There we go. All right. Google Drive should already be open. My drive should already be there. This is, yeah, here we go. Okay, I think. Nope, let me go to my my Blender 3D section. There we go. All right. I am going to put all the links to the videos on YouTube in a Word file, and I'm going to put it into the folder that I'm going to create for you, and I'm going to give you the link to the folder. So I thought did I make a 5-week Blender class folder? I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. Okay, so right click, new folder, and I'm going to put Blender. Oops, 5-week class. All right, I'm going to create the folder. Now I am going to right click on the folder, and I'm going to go to my share options, and I'm going to tell it to give everybody, anyone with the link, editor capabilities. So that means you can upload your homework into there. Inside that folder, matter of fact, let me go ahead and copy this link and put it into the chat box. I want you guys to actually go to this link now. And what this is going to do is it's going to actually link to your Google Drive account automatically. And I'll show you what I mean in just a little bit. So I'm going to go get the link. Let's see, copy the link, and I'm going to put it into the chat box right now. And I'll send everybody an email to this link just as a reminder too. So once you open this up, this will always be linked in. It will always be attached on the left-hand side of your Google Drive. the shared with me link, it'll always be listed there, always. So you don't have to remember the link. You just go to your personal Google Drive account, click on Share with Me, and the Blender 5-week class will be there. Okay, so inside that class, we're going to quick drink, double click inside that class. I'm going to make a new folder. And I'm going to call this folder week 1. And I'm going to copy that real quick. Create, there's week 1. That's where I want you to put your homework assignment. So title your homework assignment your name so that I know who it belongs to. Right click, new folder. I'm going to call this one week 2. Week 3. Week 4. And that's pretty much all we need because week 5 will be our last class. So week 4.
Do you want us to zip up our files?
Do you want us to zip up our files before uploading them?
You can upload the raw Blender blend file. That'll be fine. Just name the blend file your name.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Okay.
And then here I'm gonna put a folder here. So in fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a new. While you guys are watching, I want to make a new folder. Save as. Let me save it to my desktop just to make it easy for me. Give me a hot second here. I want to browse it, save to the desktop, and I'm going to call this YouTube links or class links or class recordings is what I'm going to call it. Class recordings. That's on my desktop. All right, so now let me go to my desktop here. And go to yeah.
And
should we also include the image we used?
should we also include the image we
Yes,
used for modeling the
absolutely.
building?
Well,
for
it
this?
should already be in there in Blender anyway, right?
I
I
Blend
don't know
file?
if Blender keeps a copy. You know how like Adobe After Effects, the images are
Exactly.
external
Well,
or
with the
Photoshop
blend-
Smart Objects.
Yeah, blend
I'm not
files
sure.
will embed the image in there, but you're welcome. You're welcome to include the image file separately by making a folder with your name on it. You can do it that way as well. Just right click and make a folder.
All right.
All right, let me go get my,
All right.
my Word doc here. There it is. Class recordings. I'm gonna click and drag and place it right into the root of 5-week blend file. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the link to the class recording. I mean, to the images file. So if I double click on this, I should be able to edit that in the Google Drive into the Google what do you call it? Google Docs. All right. Shut up. Okay, so here. Let me go back. Oh, I gave you the link to that already. So Google Drive. I hate when I do that. That's the actual drive. All right, what did I do? I want to get this out of the way. All right, let me go back to the docs. Okay, so drive URL. Just in case you forget, or if you want to, it's just there for your convenience. That's the URL to go to this Google Doc. Go to this Google Drive. Images URL. I sent that to you. I told everybody to download those images and put them on your desktop. Let me go get them. Let me see. Where is my? That should be right there. I'm going to go copy. Let me duplicate this real quick so I don't have to mess that up. All right. If I go to my drive, the student images folder should be. Oh, it's not here, is it? It's in another drive. So I guess what I'll do is here. Let me go to the email I sent everybody real quick and just copy it from there. But it'll be listed in that folder. I'm going to put it right there under the images URL. Let me highlight this and make it I guess here, here's my, there we go. Arial, make it easy to read, give it a 14 point. There we go, make it a lot easier. All right, so they're just for your convenience. So right now, everybody should see this in the Google Drive. Is there anybody that does not see that in the Google Drive?
No, I'm in that original. No, I'm in that original
Yeah, well,
link
this
that
is
you
another.
sent out.
I just put this link, this Google Drive link, in the chat box. I'll do it again for your convenience. So I want you to.
I hit reload.
Yeah, I hit reload and all and the new folders and the class recordings
Okay, good.
DOX
Yeah. So
appeared.
I want you to go to this drive right now.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm there. Yeah.
Let's see. I put a sent, and I think it was last night I sent to everybody. So let me go see if I can find that. It's in there. Give me a hot second, and I probably sent it through my school address accidentally. Or did I? There it is. Google Drive. This is it. All right. Images Drive link. Got it. I'm going to just put that there. So if you also go to this link for the images folder, it will also attach it to your Google Drive. There we go. So that's all you need. So right down here, it'll be class recordings. And today's class will be in here within about the next hour or so. Week 1, week 2. So when you guys want to review the videos, this is where you come and get them. So I shouldn't see anybody emailing me. You didn't send us the recording. No, the recording will be listed right here. I'm going to put it right in there. This is where you'll come and get it.
Oh, take all the fun out of it. Oh, take all the fun out of
There
it.
you go. Oop. Okay, so that's it. So it's saved. Now do me a favor. Try not to delete anything, guys, because I've given you editor's access. That means if you accidentally cut and paste, you'll cut everything out of here and delete it. So just, if you're going to upload anything, drag anything in here. If you want to download anything, let me kind of go back. Where's my get out of here? Where's my options? If I want to download anything, let's see where we go, back to this folder, right? Like I want to download this document, just right click and hit download. Should be in there somewhere. Make a copy, or where's your download link? Did I select it? There. There it is. Download at the very bottom.
Here's the bottom.
But don't cut it. Please. Because you end up deleting everybody's homework and stuff. So you double...
And to be clear, the screen you just had on, the week 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's where we would download our homework.
That's correct. That's exactly correct. So right, week 1, 2. Yeah. So for this week, double click on the folder. Like Drew already put his folder up there. So now he's got a folder for himself. So everybody do that right now. Right click in this area and put your folder with your name on it right now. And then when you're done with your homework assignment, you can and grab an image like a storefront image that's simple. Don't do something really overcomplicated, but do the best you can.
So we're not limited to the image you just. So we're not limited to the image you just sent us. We can pick any image out of those.
I prefer that you find something different.
Okay. Okay.
You can go out and photograph something yourself with your own camera or your cell phone.
Sounds like it gives whole new meaning. Sounds like it gives whole new meaning to the dog ate it.
Okay, any questions? And more importantly, how do you guys feel?
Excited.
Excited, generally confused, but
Yes.
I think I'll get
will.
there.
This is the, I feel like this is the best
this is
day
great.
of my
Thanks,
life.
Sorry.
Is it okay if we
if we find an a painting
Sure.
a painting of a
Sure, you're
storefront?
welcome
Could we
to.
use the painting?
Thank you.
Thank you.
What you want to do is alter it, is give me as much 3D detail as possible. Since you're not going to build the whole building from scratch, give me as much 3D detail as possible that's going to be the most convincing when you put it in the background for a 3D set or an environment.
You mean square and rectangle because you didn't show us
That's
how to
exactly
do circles
correct.
or freeform
Here,
yet,
I'll show
right?
you guys. I'll teach you a trick if you want to learn something real fast.
Yep.
Okay, I'll teach you a quick
Yep.
little trick. And we're going to get more into this next week. I'm going to get out of edit mode. Tab key, object mode. Why? Before I tell you why, I'm going to show you a little trick here. Another little trick. Up here in your viewing modes, I'm currently in my, let's get out of the texture mode. You'll be able to see this easier. I'm going to go to the standard shading mode here. Nothing in 3D is hard edge, right? Everything.
Are you recording, Steve? Are you recording, Steve? Awesome. Awesome.
Good. Stay on me, Zari. So nothing in 3D is hard edge. So I can bevel these edges. Now here's a neat little trick in Blender. Blender is the first non-destructive 3D program on the market. Completely non-destructive. I have what's called a modifier. Now this is something I'm going to cover next week more. Today I just want to kind of get you introduced to some basics, slicing and insetting and extruding. But this little gear, the wrench gear, the blue wrench gear over here that's vertically right down on the left-hand side of my 3D properties here, if I click that, I have a blank area because there's nothing in it yet. With this in object mode, and this is important, you're in object mode, with the object selected, I'm going to apply a modifier to it. And the modifier I'm going to apply is bevel. If I click it, boom. So here's my amount. Let's get in close. This is where it gets interesting. If I hold the shift key while I'm dragging it, I can subtly fine tune it. Like that. That's the amount of the bevel. If I want to add more segments, boom, boom, boom. And I've just beveled those edges. And I've got options. Let's kind of get in closer. I'm going to look at these edges. Okay, let's see. Let's go down to geometry. I got sharp edge for the miter outer. If I drop it down, maybe I'll try patch. Boom. Oh, that looks good. Or what do I have for arc? Boom. Oh, I like arc better. Look at that. All non-destructive in Blender. So I can go back and forth. So a modifier means if I remember those little options up here, the camera, the monitor. If I click the monitor off, it means I can't view it. It's a modifier. It's non-destructive. If I turn it on again, I get to see my modifier. And I can come back in here and make any adjustments that I want. Right? So now I've got a more of a realistic looking edge. So if I go back to my render mode, and if you can see automatically you're showing the additional geometry as in the little orange lines. But if I just click outside like that, get rid of the orange lines. And if you want to see this without any of the overlays on there, just quickly, and this is what Charles did earlier. he accidentally he clicked off the overlay, but if you click it off, it turns off those edges. So you can see the 3D geometry as it should be seen in render view. There's your shadows and all that, but you have to remember, if you want to see him back, you got to go back to that that option, the overlay option, and click it back on again and get your edges. Is that making sense? That's all I'm going to show you.
Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, that looks great.
We got a lot more to learn, but that's something simple you can work with. You're welcome to find an image online, or find a good resolution image too, so that detail holds when you actually start to break it up into slicing. Okay. Have fun with the homework. Put it in your folders, and we'll review it next week. Now, I won't review everybody's because that'll take up half the class. I'll pick a few. We'll take a look at it together. We'll critique them together, and I'll make suggestions. And then if somebody really, really wants me to review theirs, then I will. But we got 12 people in a class, so I want to kind of get on with the instruction.
All right.
Okay. Now, will you get frustrated? Yes, you will. If for some reason there's something in Blender that you know is there, you want to learn it really fast, just Google it. And Google it if for some reason I'm not accessible. I'm not here or something. That usually helps. Awesome. Okay.
Awesome.
So play with it, have fun, and we'll see everybody next Sunday at 10 a.m.
See you next week.
See you next week.
See you next week,
All right,
Steve.
wait, I'm gonna stop.
We'll see you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.